I mean, the Invisible Man was all right, and Hollow Man's okay,
Yeah, I mean, I think they need to focus on not like reinventing the wheel, and they need to focus on nailing the story. And the story's there because it's a classic. And like I know Creature from the Black Lagoon, like they were gonna redo that, but they just did Shape of Water, and that's to me that's as close to Creature from the Black Lagoon as it gets.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see a new Creature from the Black Lagoon kind of reinvented, but don't overdo it. Don't do what you did with this movie and have like multiple creatures and like, oh, the baby of the creature. And it's like, okay, just make it one thing and just keep it similar to the story we've seen and we know, and add some things to it, but just don't go overboard. Don't go overboard.
Think about this, man. Just like in 1975, you get Jaws. Okay, Jaws is about a shark that's attacking a town. People are dying, and then people have to go out and kill the shark.
Mhm.
That's the movie, right?
Yeah.
Then 1999, we get Deep Blue Sea, and it's
Oh,
like, all right,
goodness.
we're using the shark's brains to like cure Alzheimer's, but now the sharks are smarter, so they can destroy the facility that we're in because they're smarter now. Like that's what this movie felt like. They're like, okay, we have the Wolfman idea, but we got to really give it more here. We can't just have it be a wolf attacking people. It's got to be the dad's the bad guy. There's a twist and a love story now, and also Hugo Weaving. Is he bad? Is he justified? We don't know. Just shut the fuck up and give us the werewolf in the woods.
Dead the whole time. Like, okay,
right.
All right.
That's what you're expecting. You're like, oh, you're a ghost too. Like,
yeah, it was too much.
Just
too much. It was too much.
And then it's like, oh, the doctor's like he's like an evil German Nazi doctor, but like he's from the future. Like, oh,
and he wants to weaponize him for World War One.
Yeah. So it's like really like it just felt like they were just throwing so much shit at the wall.
Like Jurassic World. Like that's another one that just overdid it. You ever see Jurassic World?
I haven't seen any of them since
they took Jurassic Park and were like, we're doing it, but like imagine the park actually opened. It's like, well, the park actually opened in the first one, kind of. It was getting there, but like this one's like, no, imagine like there's like it's like Disney World, and it's like they overdo that one so hard, dude. So hard. It's just show me dinosaurs going bonkers.
That's the thing. Do they think that maybe audiences are smarter than they are? Like they're like, oh, they need a plot, they need justification for all of this. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. And maybe there's just too many cooks. Maybe there's like 3 different writers for this. Maybe there's too many cooks in this kitchen, and it just gets totally out of whack. Whereas like Spielberg, he took Christian's novel and said, you know what, I'm gonna make this movie and add my own taste to it, and no one else is gonna tell me what to do. You know?
Right. Well, and also that was like, and Joe and I, when we did that episode, he even said something to me. He was just like, they didn't realize how big of a success that was going to be. And he feels like in 1975, once Jaws came out, that changed all cinema. From that point forward, they're just like, oh, just do what Jaws did. Just do that. So Wolfman from 1941, that was their original screenplay. They had no idea it was going to be successful. It ends up being huge. Now, 2010, they're like, all right, we've got this like gem. How are we going to recapture that financial gain, all that stuff? Well, we've got to add a little more spice to it. We can't just give them the same thing again. But I don't know. Just maybe if they did that, it would have worked. Last thing, too, I just want to mention really quick. The director apparently was brought in 3 weeks before they were going to start filming. So they had another director, they fired him, and then they hired another guy 3 weeks before they're going to film.
Already, I mean, that's why half these actors are phoning it in, because they know it's going to be not coherent with the vision. And the problem is that happens to actors a lot, where they're just in their contract. So you got to make this movie. It's like, but the director was fired. It's, well, I'm still got to make it. It's like, shit, this is going to suck.
Yeah, imagine for all of the pre-production, you're working with one person, and they're like, okay, this is what it's going to be like. And then all of a sudden, they're fired. You're like, so do we just forget everything we just worked on? And they bring in this other guy who directed Jurassic Park 3, just so you know. And then,
no way, did he really?
Yeah, he really did. He directed some other good stuff, though. That's just one of his things. He directed Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Jumanji.
Oh, Jumanji's like all-time great, so can't knock this guy. Then.
Yeah, the original Jumanji. And then one of the Captain America, the First Avenger, he directed that.
That was pretty good.
But he was also a huge visual effects guy for the Star Wars trilogy, the original one, dude. He was on all of the sets of the Star Wars, all the sets of Indiana Jones. He's definitely been in the industry, but, this is not his best work, I don't think.
Yeah.
But he seemed like a studio director that they just kind of brought in last minute to, like, get it going. And he said that the reason that the special effects are more prominent than he wanted them to be is because he didn't have enough time.
But it won the Oscar, so he has an Oscar with this team. So that is cool. I mean,
well, who won the Oscar is Rick Baker, who did American Werewolf in London.
Well, that's how you want to win an Oscar, yeah. Get the guy who did that, exactly.
Yeah, so 1981 was the first year they ever gave a award for best makeup and hair and all that stuff. So Rick Baker won it in 1981 for a werewolf movie, and then he wins it this year for another werewolf movie.
Yeah, and I mean that's a reason to do the movie, in my opinion. That's so cool to do it. Benicio Del Toro's in, and he looks exactly like Lon Chaney. If you look, he looks exactly like him, which is so cool. Did a great job kind of channeling that too. But yeah, it could have been better. It could have been a lot better. It probably couldn't have been amazing because it's a remake of a 30s movie that's, the story's there. It's a werewolf, You get the full moon, you got the silver bullet, you got the dead werewolf. Boom. That's the movie. Like,
they've made good werewolf movies since Wolfman. I mean, I think American Werewolf in London is amazing, dude. That was
fantastic. Yeah. Well, that was great. That was great. And I enjoyed talking about that a couple months ago. That was fun.
But yeah, unfortunately, I've never seen this one, and I'm not going to be recommending it anytime soon.
Yeah, that's fine.
You know what it is, though? It's a pretty movie. Like, it's a very nice set. Everybody looks good. The acting's not horrible. Like, it's not a, complete piece of shit. It's just very bland. It's just, boring.
It's sloppy. It's sloppy in the writing and story structure. Everything else is hitting the mark for the most part. It just needed a better coherent story.
Yeah, and it came out Valentine's Day weekend, apparently, is when it came out. So it's like, who the hell's going to see this on, Valentine's Day weekend?
Either you're going to see that movie Valentine's Day with Ashton Kutcher, or you're going to see this. There's no other option.
Oh, I think it's a lot of single guys going to see this, and then a lot of couples going to Valentine's Day. But also, did this need to be rated R? Do you think maybe that would have helped?
You needed it to. I mean, there's only so many ways you can do it. You can just do it like a beautiful love story, or you could do violent. And they went we're doing violent. The love story's not there. The love story sucked in this.
Yeah, it did. It did.
The violence was there, and the kills are actually really impressive. It wasn't the most amazing thing I've ever seen, but they did a good job.
The only one that stood out to me is when that guy got the claws through the bottom of his chin up through his face or whatever. That was pretty intense.
Yeah, the arms getting ripped off, the guy getting pulled through the tent. Yeah. There's some cool kills.
Dude, you know what made me laugh so hard is when they have that deer tied up or whatever, and the wolf just jumps out from underground, starts killing people, and the deer's like, "Fuck this," and breaks the thing and runs.
Yeah,
that was great.
Change the subject real quick. I'll send you a link, Alec, of a real quote werewolf legend story, "The Beast of Gévaudan," Gévaudan, Beast of that Gévaudan. It's a French story, kind of like Jaws, where there was a beast that, over the course of many years, 610 attacks, 500 deaths, 49 injuries.
Wait, 610 deaths?
Attacks resulting in 500 deaths. Is that right? Am I reading this right?
What?
Dude, yeah, look it up. I'm telling you, it'll blow your mind reading about it.
When
1764. Was this? It's in the history books, and it's in France, and legend has it was a werewolf over the course of from 1964 to 67, which was in the area of about 50 miles. One or more beasts with formidable teeth and immense tails. It could have been a striped hyena, a wolf, a dog, a wolf-dog hybrid. History is now saying that it could have been Tasmanian devils. But yeah, look it up, dude. It's kind of fascinating. I went down a rabbit hole. It's probably the only real story that we have of a potential werewolf that I can think of. This is legit, could have been.
I mean, I've never heard of that. I'm sorry, did you say 1760 or 1960?
17, sorry.
Okay.
1764 to 1767, the attacks. Yeah. It's amazing if you read this stuff. It's so crazy.
Spell it again, so if anybody listening.
All right, so it's so if you type in Beast of Gévaudan, Beast of Gévaudan.
All right. Yeah, no, I want to look it up and learn a little bit about that.
It's fascinating. I mean, and apparently there's legends saying that, the silver bullet thing came from this. They killed this creature with a silver bullet, apparently. Also, other stories about the silver bullet. It's a way to fight evil. Silver is a way to fight evil. If you remember, Judas turning on Jesus and getting 30 silver coins. Silver is evil. It fights evil in some sense. Silver. So...
Yeah, that was one thing I always was like, why silver? But I guess that.
Those are the two reasons people have heard, but the Beast of Gévaudan is probably saying that wrong. It's probably Gévaudan, for all I know. But yeah, that's probably the two things I know of that silver bullets came from.
Well, the one scene that I was kind of watching and I was thinking to myself, like, you know what? Fuck that kid. Is when right after there's the first werewolf attack in the town, and Benicio Del Toro follows that little kid. He's like, "Hey, boy," like all that stuff. Dude, screw that kid. Are you kidding me? You're gonna go sacrifice yourself for some random kid that's like deciding to be an idiot?
I think he was helping the kid, but also wants to kill the beast that killed his brother. It wasn't just helping the kid.
Okay, yeah, that's true. He probably thinks
he had more purpose than just saving the kid.
Yeah, because I'm watching this, I'm like, why is he going after this kid?
Well, I mean, first of all, if I'm at a carnival and that some beast is going around massacring people, and I see it running in the woods, and I see this kid like just ran off in the woods, I'm like, like, I don't know, should I go after the kid? Like,
no. And then you see the wolf running after the boy.
I think that kid shouldn't have ran off. I mean, that's his problem.
No,
that's so bad. That's so yeah, no, but seriously,
it is. But also, like, dude, if I saw a stranger doing like about to do something stupid, I'd be like, that's not my fucking problem. Like, I don't know.
The good Samaritans on this podcast that we are. No, we would help. I mean,
if somebody was like, if they were in danger, like let's say they like fell onto a railroad track, yeah, I'd help them. But the kid who's in town runs away from.
There's not a town. It's a gypsy carnival. It's not even like.
Oh, right.
It's not. There's no structures there. The kids just running off in the woods. Like, what are we gonna do, Alec? What are we gonna do to help this kid?
I know.
Like, hey, Alec, we should really go help this kid. It's like, and just die too? Like, there's no way we're beating this thing.
Right, exactly. And then I love how the kid gets a little bit of like reprimanding when he's like back in the wagon. They're stitching up Benicio's neck.
His pulse is bleeding on
him.
Like,
and he's like, "Come here, you stupid!" He like pulls the kid over. He's like, "I'm sorry, Pop." Like, it was just like, oh my god, like, yeah, you're so lucky, kid.
It'd be funny if the kid was like, "Did I do that?" Like,
oh my god, it's like, Jesus, this movie sucks, dude. So actually, I know that, so in the 2000s and the 2010s, they tried to reboot the Universal movies. They tried to do
City,
that.
Man.
But now,
so sad.
In 2017, we had The Mummy with Tom Cruise, which also flopped, which is like, whoa, with Tom Cruise it flops?
That was supposed to start off or kick off the Dark Universe. We've talked about this before with Russell Crowe and Javier Bardem, or what's his last name? Javier Bardem.
Yeah, Bardem. Yeah.
It was going to be a big deal. It fell apart.
So what they're doing is now The Invisible Man came out in 2020, which actually was a very big success. So, they're greedy and they're like, well, let's try the Wolfman again. So apparently, and if you look it up on IMDb, there is a new Wolfman movie coming out with Ryan Gosling as the wolf.
Isn't he Ken? Barbie Ken?
He's doing it all now. Buckle up, buckaroo.
Wait, does he owe people favors? Like, he was like, what's he doing now? Like, I was like really starting to gain respect for Ryan Gosling.
Yeah. You didn't see The Gray Man, did you, on Netflix?
That one's bad, right? That's Reynolds, though. Is that Reynolds?
No, that's Ryan Gosling.
It's all blurring together with, like,
No, yeah.
What's the other one Ryan Reynolds did about, like, him in a video game, Player One, or whatever. I don't know.
Free Adam? Or
all these movies are starting to blur together.
Yeah, you're telling me, dude. Jesus Christ. But, yeah, I don't know. Overall, I mean, now that you've revisited it, if you had to give it a score out of 10, what would you give The Wolf?
All right, first time seeing it, enjoying it in theaters, I'd give it a 7 out of 10. Seeing it now, 5. Just a 5. A flat 5. Like, you tried, you got the Oscar, but, man, you dropped the ball on the story structure.
Yeah, I'm going 4. It's
That's fine. That feels right. I mean, it has that what is it, 33 on Rotten Tomatoes?
Yeah, if you read on IMDb, though, people are like, don't read the bad reviews. This is the best werewolf movie of all time. And I'm like, what are you people on? Like, no, it's not.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's not, like, unwatchable, but it's just, like, boring. Like, I don't know. There's better ones.
It misses the mark. It misses the mark. American Werewolf in Paris is not in Paris, in London. Paris is another one that's pretty bad. But American Werewolf in London is probably one of the best ones. What other werewolf movies is, like...
There's The Howling, which I haven't seen. I don't know, man. I'm not like a huge werewolf guy, but I think American Werewolf in London's the best. And then you've got The Wolfman from 1941. That one's fantastic.
There's one more movie that's better than every werewolf movie, and that's Teen Wolf with Michael J. Fox.
I like that one too.
That might be the best werewolf movie. I'm sorry.
Dude, think of it. You become a werewolf, he becomes better at basketball. What's not to love? Come on.
It's amazing. The guy at the end taking his penis out in the stands. Like, Google that. Google that, people. Listen, that's a real thing.
He gets on top of a car and surfs with sunglasses on. It's
and
fun.
And they get kegs, and he's scared, and his dad shows up, and he's just like, I'm a werewolf too. Oh, that's as good as it gets.
It's fun. But anyways, what do you say you spin the wheel, Eric?
We shall. All right, pulling it up. Spinning! Ooh, good one. Good one.